Hello there and welcome back to Green Valley Zoo, and in today's episode we're going to be putting in some African wild dogs. I had an idea. I wanted to try something that I hadn't done before, which was to put in an underground viewing area. It was something I've seen many people do. Everyone is doing it. It's a great looking thing, but I just hadn't tried it myself. So I went through the animal list and I tried to think of what animal I could do that it made sense for. What animal would go underground, and I came across African wild dogs. And as much as it's not like they're known for spending time underground, but they would certainly take shelter in a cave. So that's the idea. That was what I went with in the end. Was that they have shelter up above on the land, but they can also come down under here and sleep down in this deep, dank underground place. So that was my planning. And I'd never done this before, so it was all a bit of an experiment, and luckily it went quite well. Certainly the end result I'm very happy with. It took me a while to get there. I will show you what went wrong along the way, because things certainly did go wrong, but on the whole actually it wasn't quite as tricky as I thought. Luckily this new landscaping tool, which we didn't have, I don't think, in Planet Coaster, the thing where you can add and subtract land with the different shapes, is very handy for this sort of thing, hollowing out underground areas, or indeed building an area on top of land, because certainly in Planet Coaster you had to do it all manually, and it was just a very, very tricky process. So I used that technique to create the cave, and you can see I've made the entrance to that cave now as well. Didn't want anything. I wanted it to look natural. I didn't want anything artificial about this. Obviously, the viewing area is artificial and looks it. Although actually, I do kind of blend the two together. You'll see later on. I do something above land which makes it kind of has an effect on the underground area. I'll explain what I mean when we get to that. But for now, just doing some landscaping. I knew I wanted some hills on the top. I wanted a bit of everything basically in this. I wanted the underground area, I wanted hills, and I wanted water. So obviously just getting one of the animals in there just to make sure they can actually get down into this cave. I needed to flatten this all out and widen it a little bit just to make sure they could get in quite easily. Again, the landscaping tools make that sort of thing very easy. So it's pretty straightforward. I wanted some water in here. I didn't want to just do a pond. I wanted sort of a deep area there, but then I wanted this little stream to run right around the base of the hill. I don't know why I wanted that. I just thought it would look nice, to be honest. It's tricky in this game. Once you start doing more habitats, it's very easy to end up doing the same thing over and over again. So one of the challenges that I'm finding, please let me know if you feel the same, is just trying to come up with creative ideas for new styles of habitats. Sometimes it's quite easy, because obviously different animals lend themselves to different environments and different styles. But when you're just doing animals like this, you create a habitat, and the habitat could be suitable for half a dozen different animals. And so trying to give each of those animals a different looking habitat can be quite tricky. But I'm enjoying the challenge of it, and trying to be creative and come up with new looks for the enclosures. And I think this one comes out quite nicely. There's a couple of aspects of it that I'm not entirely happy with. Well, I kind of use techniques that I've used elsewhere, and I need to get out of that habit because it will become too repetitive if I keep doing it. So things like sinking the tamarind trees into the ground, which I love, and it does look great, but I don't want to do it everywhere because it will get repetitive. And I do that in this enclosure. This bit here, sort of a little bit of inspiration from The Lion King, really. I don't know why, I just wanted a little bit of a rocky outcropping at the top here. Whether they actually use it or not, I don't know. I know they can get onto it, but I don't know that they do. I do put a bit of enrichment up there. I think I put a cardboard box up there just to encourage them, but I don't know if they do use it or not. But I like the look of it, and let's face it, that's why we play these games, isn't it? It's for your satisfaction, really, not the animals. I enjoyed it. I liked the idea of it, so I built it. Simple as that. If the animals like it, it's a bonus, really. And using a different rock here as well. That's obviously something that you can vary a bit in the game. There's lots of different colours of rocks, and obviously every time you build a rock formation, it looks different. I know you can copy and paste, of course, but generally you build them all individually, and at least that does add a bit of variety. I had to do a lot of smoothing here. For some reason, the dogs struggled getting up this hill. I didn't think it was too steep, to be honest, but I had to just flatten bits of it out just to give them plenty of roots to get up onto the top. I wasn't too sure. Oh yes, you missed that. I think I put in an extra cave up here. This one doesn't go underground as such. No viewing or anything into it. It's just a small cave for the animals to get into and get away from watching people. So yeah, I don't know what that was, in a sense, I suppose that is a touch of realism. It gives the animals somewhere to go where humans aren't, which I think most zoos do. Certainly good zoos will do that. If there's a viewing area for humans, they will usually have a shelter where the humans can't see as well. And over here I just wanted to put in a little bridge over the water. I know they don't really need it because they can just jump in the water, but it's the sort of thing that you would see because obviously the keepers need to come and go over water, and sometimes they don't want to have to walk all the way around the water, so they put in little bridges and things across. And I just fancied doing it, quite frankly. So I did. Nothing too clever or sophisticated about it, just a few rocks. And I wanted to disguise the entrances to the caves. First, yes, I wanted some trees on the top of the hill. I didn't want this to be full of small foliage. I didn't want it jungly, because that's not the sort of environment that these animals would like. They like a bit of shelter, but they certainly, they live out on the plains, so they're not they're not used to being in thick undergrowth and bushes and stuff. So I just wanted some trees. So I found these ones that I thought looked pretty nice, and you can see I'm just doing my little twisting technique just to change a few of the looks, thicken them up a bit, and I really like the effect that twisting technique has. It really just adds a bit of extra variety. And now this is where my problems started in a sense. It actually ended up not being a problem, but I thought it was. So I'm sinking these trees in. I wanted some nice foliage around the rocks here and around the entrance to the caves. And so I thought, some of the best bushes in the game are actually the tops of trees. I'll be honest, the bushes so far in this game aren't very good. There aren't any that just look like this, just thick green leaves. So I go with the tree technique instead. But the problem is, obviously, because I've got the cave there, you can see here I'm having to angle a lot of them so that the tree stumps don't just hang down through the roof. However, it gave me an idea. I thought it actually looked quite nice to have these down here because it looks like the roots of the trees coming down through the cave. And that led me to the idea of adding more of them on purpose down in this area where the dogs are sleeping, but also in the viewing area of the cave. So you might see me do a little bit of that, but a lot of that I did off camera, so you'll have to wait till the real-time bit of the video for that. And here you can see this is my usual thing, my tamarind. I just love these flowers. I know I say it every time I use it, but they just look amazing. They really do. They're so colourful, and they really just blend in nicely to all the rocks and the other foliage. It just look fantastic. They really do. So that's what I did. However, some of them, I think when I go into this cave, it doesn't look too bad, but when I go into the small cave, I discovered that some of the bushes or some of the trees were just too in the way, and I had to get rid of them. But I will show you that a bit later on. A bit of decoration on the stream here. This is my usual, my eel grass. I love this stuff. It's such a simple plant, but it's so effective. Really covers up the water nicely. Just some reeds and things. I think I'll plonk a few rocks down as well. You don't have to do a lot with water really. 2 or 3 different plants in the water, and it really just looks real, because you don't want to hide too much of the actual water, because the water in the game looks fantastic. But obviously you do need some foliage. I think this is all I put down, because the other reeds, in fact this one here, unfortunately it doesn't, it blocks animals. It's not traversable, which is very annoying. So I don't put any of those ones in here. I just stick to the normal bulrushes. Here just extending the trees down to the back here. I didn't have anything else I needed to do in this back corner, so I just thought let's get some more trees down there, twist a few round. Yeah, really didn't need anything too sophisticated in there. Here you can see a bit of an issue. I had to remove a few of these because they were just a bit over the top, a bit, sticking down a little bit too much, which unfortunately lost me some foliage from up the top there. But actually, it was still okay, so I was quite happy to do that. And this was my first time attempting sort of an underground build, really. I didn't really know how to do it best. I just thought just keep plugging the gaps basically. I kind of assumed that I would have to do it on 2 or 3 different buildings, which I do in the end. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty straightforward idea really. Just get some glass panels in there, decorate the tops and the bottoms and the sides. Obviously eventually I cover the floor and I cover all the walls. It's amazing how quickly you can make a very out of shape, rough looking cave look like a man-made enclosure or man-made building. It really is part of the joy of this game, how easy it is to connect walls and things together from different buildings to look like one big solid piece and look like a room. And obviously when you're building like this, where the ends of a lot of your groups are going into the ground, of course you don't have to worry about things matching up perfectly because you're hiding the ends, so not everything has to be measured out too precisely. So you can see stuff like this where I'm doing the ground, it just disappears into the earth, so it doesn't need to fit perfectly. As long as it covers everywhere you want it to cover, it doesn't matter that it just disappears into the solid earth. And hey presto, you've got a really nice looking floor. And then you just do the same with the walls. Yeah, love it. So easy. I do a lot of detail down here actually. I had the idea of making it look like a unnatural cave. And I know that doesn't make sense. A man-made natural cave? No, that still doesn't make sense. A man-made cave that's made to look natural. There you go. Let's just go with that. So that's what it ends up as. Most of that is off camera, so I will show you that later. But certainly all of this bit here, it's very straightforward really. Just keep covering gaps. That's always my philosophy with this sort of thing. Don't worry about angles and stuff. If stuff's off, you just keep on adding. You just keep on filling in the gaps, you know, piecing bits together, and eventually everything blends together and looks solid. It's not always going to be perfect first time. You will have to, when you're doing this sort of thing, you have to make adjustments. You have to keep, you know, you will make mistakes like that where I've just destroyed the ceiling. You know, these things happen. So yeah, you just keep on layering. I think that's sort of the key with any building in this game really. Just keep on adding bits and going, and eventually you do get to that point where you think, okay, that's enough, it looks good now. Hopefully you get to that stage anyway. So in here, obviously I wanted it to look real, as in I wanted it to have some natural look. So I went with these rocks, because even though they're fake, obviously they look real, and they would be fake because this whole thing would be a big fake underground structure. So obviously the walls are there and they look solid, as they would be, but certainly things like these rocks would be fake, and the tree stumps hanging down through the roof would be fake. But obviously they're there to try and give it a sense of being underground, and I do a lot more of that, which I'll show you in the real time. I think we're nearly done with the time lapse actually here, so I will be back in a minute for the real time. Okay, here we are back with the African wild dogs. They're enjoying their dinner, as you do. Look at that. You'd want to tuck into that. Oh, it looks delicious, doesn't it? Right, so let's have a wander around. You can see I've put quite a few animals in here. I think maybe 7 or 8 of them in here, and they're pretty happy. I think most of this you saw in the time lapse. So what you haven't seen, this is my little facilities building over here. It's very simple. I think I've just got a staff room and a keeper hut in there, and just a simple brick thing. Added an extra little bit up here just to, it was a bit plain without that, so yeah, just wanted to stick that on. A bit of decoration, some foliage, very simple. Really didn't need too much on there. A couple of windows so that people could look out into the enclosure. Changed the habitat wall from brick. Actually, I really like this stone thing. I don't know what this is called. It's stone inside a wire cage, isn't it? I'm sure there's a technical name for it, but yeah, it looks really good in real life, and I mean, close up it doesn't actually look great in the game. It looks okay, but from a distance it looks good. So that's what I've chosen for that. And around the outside you can see I've just decorated it with some basic little bushes down here. I can't even remember what these ones are actually. Bearberry bush. Yeah, so a whole load of those, and some of the screens, the education screens around here. Inside, obviously, I've put a load of enrichment down. I've got their nice feeder here where people can stand and watch. And then let's have a look inside the caves. So this is the small cave that the people can't see into. So you can see I've put some fake tree roots in here. Just a couple. So it's a very basic small cave. They do come in here and sleep, and that's their private area. And then over here is their bigger cave. So down here you can see you've got the trees actually coming down here. So I've put the rocks in such a way it looks like the roots are kind of growing around the rocks. Oh, look at this, all the animals are sleeping at the moment. So here we are, this is the cave. It's okay. I mean, it's all fake, obviously, so none of this is meant to be natural, and it's very hard to make something look fake that is trying to look real. So all of this stuff, all these roots would be fake roots. The plants might be real, and obviously these are plants that shouldn't really be growing in a cave, but I liked the look of them. They were subtle colours, nothing too bright, small flowers, and it was the best I could come up with, really. And so I just put a load of these roots coming through the ceiling and the walls. Yeah, nice big area, really nice big area for the animals, so they can all spread out down here. A couple of enrichment items just to encourage them to come down here, and some lighting, of course, for night time. I didn't want the lighting to be too in your face kind of thing. I wanted it to be subtle. So there's just those two, so it's not too bright for them in here. That if they wanted to be in the dark, they could come over this side. Yeah, it's worked out okay. They seem to like it down there, as you can see. They're all down there. And obviously you've got your viewing platform, and I like how the viewing platform is right up here. So it doesn't feel, from the animal's point of view, yes, they're being looked down upon from up here, but they're not stood right next to people. So they're still going to feel quite safe and secluded down here. They're not really going to notice people up here behind soundproof glass. Whereas if the glass was down here at this level, or even in the middle at this level, the animals may not like that as much. And so yeah, I think that's worked out very nicely. To be honest, I didn't plan that really. It's just the way that my terrain editing turned out. But yeah, it was it worked out well. And you can see obviously there's a lot going on in the area up there, but I'm going to show you that from the other side. So let's go back up out of here. Yeah, let's nip down the road back to the entrance. Here we go. So this is, if you remember all of this, this was back here. So what have we got around here? Oh yeah, so you've got the restaurant over here, and the picnic area over here, right back from the second episode. The jaguars are in this bit just here. So this is where the wild dogs are, over in this corner. So as you come from this angle here, you can go that way to the wild dogs, and this way to the wild dog cave. So again, very simple up here. Lots of rock work. There's so many edges to try and cover up when you do this sort of tunneling into the ground. You just got to keep on whacking rocks down, basically, and it's never going to look real, I don't think, like a natural cave. It's very hard to have that effect, and to be honest, it wouldn't be a natural cave anyway. It would be artificial, and so these rocks are allowed to look fake. They're allowed to look like they're built in lines on a on a grid almost, because they would be in a zoo. They wouldn't try and make it look too real. But it's effective. Continued the this what's it called, the reeds that I used over the other side. Again, just copying the theming over to here a bit. Stuck a couple of these. I think these are sage. Yeah, the white sage bush. I thought quite liked the look of them, especially when you sink them down in. They looked like something that would grow on rocks. So I went with those, and I've continued the idea of it being a cave down here. So you can see I've still got the roots sticking down through the tops, and the roof of the cave here is covered with nettles. I mean, they're not meant to be nettles, obviously. They're meant to be just something that grows in a cave. But it was just a thought, an idea that I had, and I went with it. I quite like it. A bit of a green roof. And obviously lots of these roots, and the sage oh, excuse me. The terribly rude of me, I do apologise. Yes, the sage continues down here as well. I love this tree in the middle. It's a bit random, but it works. Again, it would be a big fake tree, but yeah, I don't mind it. It's a dead underground tree. Why not? I mean, it's a mysterious cave. You could find anything down here. So the rocks, obviously, top and bottom, with the concrete in between. And put a couple of vending machines down here. You may well get them down here in real life. It is the sort of thing, you know, you get vending machines all over the place in zoos, but obviously from the game point of view, it's just to try and encourage people to actually come down here. And then you've got some education boards at the end here, and I've built a nice sort of wooden frame here to incorporate these. I do love these boards, but I'm not really keen on the surrounds for them, so I like to kind of cover them up and bury them in amongst something else. So I think this works really nicely here. Actually, it makes it all look nicely finished off. Obviously you've got the education board in the middle here as well. So yeah, really like that. And another one just here again with a simple wooden frame around it. And then you've, oh yeah, and a few benches down in the middle here. And obviously you can just come over here and look down into the cave. It's a really nice vantage point actually, where you're, like I say, you could see from down in the cave that you weren't intruding too much on their privacy from up here. And I think it's worked out very nicely actually. It looks quite natural, all of this roof of the cave here. It's the way it hangs down, it kind of looks like you are hiding up in the roof and being a bit secretive. Yeah, I don't know, I like it. And again, lots of just little touches, you know, finishing touches along, like bits of wood. Obviously I've done like a double, it's a beach ball coming down there, don't know where that came from. Yeah, so I did like a double stone layer along the bottom here, and then just a layer of wood there. Actually I didn't put the wood at the top, maybe I think I should have put the wood up here as well. No, because that's wood. Yeah, that's right. I decided I wanted stone at the bottom for structure and then the wood on top, but then the top is entirely wood, so that's fine, yeah. Sorry, I'm talking to myself really. Just convincing myself that I like my own work. Why not? Well, someone has to like it, don't they? So there we go. I think that's kind of everything that I need to show you. Oh, let's just put it to night time actually. I can't quite remember what I did with the lighting down here. Oh, it's a little bit red, that's it. Yeah, I don't know why, but I think caves should always be lit with red. Again, not too much. I didn't want to put anything along here because I didn't want anything to shine into their cave. So just a single light at the back here. But you can see actually looking down at night into the cave looks really nice, doesn't it? I quite like that. Yeah, really happy. Oh, you can see the moonlight coming through from up there as well. I like that. That looks really nice, doesn't it? Oh, look at him wiggling his bum like a catwalk model. Brilliant. Oh, you gotta love these animals, haven't you? Okay, right. Let's just head back up again. Oh, sorry, let's sink through the path, and there we go. So a little aerial view. Let me just get that back to daytime. There we go. So there's my African wild dog enclosure. Yeah, really like that actually. It's worked out okay. I'm not too sure what animal I'm going to be doing next. At the time of recording I have got one more video lined up after this one, but I'm actually sort of catching up with my commentaries now. So I don't know what the next animal will be, but I quite fancy doing something aquatic. So it could be penguins, maybe seals, maybe both. Not sure. Maybe a crocodile. I don't know. There's going to be some water involved. I know that much. But for now, I will leave you with my African wild dogs. Here we go. Let's just wander down here, watch him disappear. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had a good time. I certainly have. Really do appreciate your company. And hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, take care and au revoir.